Hello YouTube, welcome back. This here be the third part of my mini series. And we've took it apart, we've cleaned it up, now it's time to put it back together. So I'll start with the reassembly of the slide. Just a little quick spritz is all it takes. Take your spring, slide your firing pin over it, push your little stop in, and it'll kind of hold itself there for the moment. Sorry, I gotta get this oriented the way that I'm used to working with it. You can take your thing that you used to take it out with, push it down, and then start your. It's hard to do sometimes. Cooperate, will you? Okay. Sometimes a finger is easier to work with than trying to manipulate. There it goes. Once it gets past that, keep it pushed in. You can take, once you get this here, just slide it up and it's in place. That looked way more difficult than it really is. I'm just a fumbling fool sometimes. Give it a little shot of lube on the lugs, a little squirt along your rails. Like I said, I personally like to lube this pistol up pretty well. Most of your 1911 style pistols like lots of lube to function correctly. It's not really possible to over lube it due to the simple fact that what it doesn't use, it'll eject out as it works. But just put your barrel back in. Those are the locking lugs that I'd mentioned earlier. Like I said, I like to give them just a little squirt of oil. Flip this piece down. That's important because for later, because that would be the correct position for it to this piece to go through your frame. So I put my guide rod in it. Start my return spring. And now, oops, forgot something. Well, I'll do that when I get back. I was going to say it might be easier to put my grips back on it, but we'll do that in a minute. Cock my hammer all the ways back so I don't really have that much resistance. And then just kind of slide over your frame rails. Now, this one here always wants to be a little bit of a pain. Now, something that I have found that helps me is to take and get to where I can look right through the hole. And what you want to do is try to line everything up, which this is going to be hard to show on camera. But as you can see, when this one, at the very least, when it decides to go, it goes. But once you have that there, okay, now, if I can get a shot of it, you can see right there, well, basically everything lines up. And you kind of have to watch to make sure that that piece that I showed you to start with lines up like it should. with your hole, and then just start that through. And then once you have that started through, it should cycle back to where you can take right here. These are spring loaded, and on the 1911 they should be staked. This one is actually nice because it has them screwed in, but that just pushes right down like that. Push your slide forward. Now take your bushing cap or spring cap, slide that there. Bushing, just slide it over your barrel, which I'll show you on the bushing. It has right here, that will fit between your spring cap and your barrel, and that should be pointed down. It goes a little easier with. There it goes, and that should fit flush, and then swing over, so that way you end up with your bushing capturing the end of your spring plug, and that's got your barrel bushing nice and, or your barrel retained nice and tight. Then I don't know if it's like this on most 1011s, but this one here, the grips are a little bit finicky. Which, this has the original patchmark grips. But I generally just run them down just barely snug. Because the first time I done this, I got everything back together, put the magazine in, and the magazine would not eject. And I got to troubleshooting. Like, what in the world have I done to this gun? I have tore it up. And as it comes to find out, if you set your, if you take and run these little machine screws up too tight, they stick out and bind the magazine on this one. So, what I will generally do is just run it down to where they're just nice and snug. I know they're not going to come loose. And then I will take the magazine, put it in, and press the button. If the unloaded magazine will come out under its own prerogative, its own weight. And of course, well, I didn't have it seated good. Uh-oh. It's not wanting to come. So that means I got something not adjusted right. So we adjust the tension on these screws. I'm sorry.
It came out the first time.
So it did. So
There's no such thing as being too loose.
not unless it falls off. Well, I don't like that. Which that can be too loose. But I mean, as long as they're not falling off, you should be okay. For some reason, it's decided it don't like me. I think the magazine itself might be hanging. Try this. Oh, there it goes. Yep. That's the magazine. You put a round in there and so. anyways, I'll tinker with that and get it right. But it's always a good idea that after you've disassembled and reassembled, which put it in, safety's off. Now here's the thing, everybody wants to baby a handgun, especially something that you just spend a lot of money on. But these things are designed to operate like that. All the ways back and let go. Let that return spring do its job. Bring it back with force when you come back with it, when you rack it, and it should work correctly each time. If you can run it through like that and it works correctly. Oh, see, there it goes. It just took a notion to make a fool of me on the video. Let me grab my spare mag out of my pouch. Which I need to wipe this one down too, it's filthy. And then your release. And then which this magazine started giving me troubles again. Not wanting to hold open. But it functions. So, which empty. So, usually the last thing I will do, and I know I said it can't have too much oil. That's on your moving parts. The stuff that actually makes it work. Now, generally what I like to do is just take a dry patch, and where I've oiled everything, when I get everything put back together, especially around the trigger area, I like to just generally wipe the excess off of the outside of the pistol. Which, you know, this is just personal preference. But I think it just makes it a little easier to handle if it's not completely oil soaked. But there you have it. It's cleaned up. As you can see, it's not got the fuzzies no more in there. But it's cleaned up. And we'll probably go ahead and rotate our magazines, which is a topic for another video. And I'll get that other magazine cleaned up, and it's ready for another 2 weeks of service before we do it again. Stay tuned for a revolver cleaning video. And if you've just found me putting it back together, there's 2 more previous videos where I actually take it apart, and then another one where I go through the process of cleaning it, which is similar for all semi-automatic handguns. Like I said, I'm going to do a revolver video of cleaning, because revolver is a little different. You know, the basics are the same, but there's other things. They work differently. There's other things you have to take into consideration with cleaning those. So, I'll get my magazine cleaned up, rotate them out, give my camera woman a break, and we'll probably go ahead and shoot the revolver video. Thank you for watching. Like and subscribe for more content. Stay safe.